everyone. Thank you for considering me. I have to say I watched last week's broadcast, and it was an answer after an answer, which I had questions to, which was being answered, and it was like, oh my God, I knew she was going to answer me. So now I'm asking you to answer me. I'm currently living in Israel, which is not even a post-traumatic, it's a current traumatic. We are still living the trauma. And I am asking you to give me a game, such as you gave last broadcast, about staying in alignment and staying positive and staying the Abrahamic way. Thank you.
When things feel really intense, and we understand, we know that they do, and your discomfort level is high, and we know it surely is. When something really important to you feels threatened to you, your focus is challenged. It just is. So the first thing that we are encouraging you to do is to relax into the logical inevitability of stronger and more often negative emotion. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just accept it as, well, of course. We have, in a very light way, which feels ridiculously light and insignificant in relationship to what you're living right now, where we have said to you, if someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me, but I'm never going to call you again, it would be a very light discomfort. But if someone called you who you really care about and said that to you, it would be one of those traumatic things that you're talking about here. And so it's all right that it's a traumatic thing. And don't take offense at this, but just like the conversation just before about wanting to let more money in, wanting to let more peacefulness in both cases, if there's a strong habit of thought working against your now decision, it's just going to require more focus. But what it really requires is more being nice to yourself when you're not able to find the relaxation that you're hoping for. In other words, it's just got to be all right with you that you're not getting it done right now, this red hot minute, in terms of finding the relief that you want. In the situation with the wanting to let more money in, it's not necessarily that there was a traumatic experience just now where all the family money got burned up in the stove. It's not like that. It's been coming on for a while. You've been thinking thoughts of shortage consciousness about money for a long time, and you're not going to turn that around suddenly. But in the case of something coming upon you more suddenly, now we know you've been in a war zone for a long time. There's been a lot of conversation and a lot of awareness. But you've also relaxed into an acceptance of that, and that's what was shaken. So, what we really want you to hear, and those of you, and there are a lot of you who wrote in and videoed in from Israel, from Palestine, on this broadcast. So, we're going to take a little bit of time here and really talk to you about what you can do in a situation where you have no action control. In a situation where there are people, governments, groups, even what you want to call terrorists, lots of words used to describe lots of sides of lots of arguments. You cannot make a plan and gather a group and go change this. This is a condition that's going to require unconditional attention. In other words, you've got to set yourself free of trying to be the one, or a one, or one of many, who devises a scenario where you turn things around. Because what momentum is, or what escalation is a lot of thought that's been offered from a lot of perspectives, and a lot of streams of energy have been flowing, and a lot of bags of marbles have become activated, and a lot is happening in response to that. And it isn't your job to change all of those marbles in all of those bags. It is your job. It is your right. It is your power to affect your point of attraction. But it requires focus that most of you aren't used to. That's why you're not going to succeed at it right away, which is going to make you feel not powerful, even though you are. So what we're talking to you about is finding a way, whether it's attracting well-being in the terms of finances, or well-being in terms of relationships, or well-being in terms of physical well-being and safety from this true trauma. No matter what it is that you are seeking this well-being around, it's going to take some practice. And it's going to require that you do something we love you so much, that we've been asking you to do for a long time, that most humans just don't ever quite get around to. We've been asking you to be unconditional in your love and in your alignment, which means focus for the difference that it makes in the way you feel first. Not focusing for the difference in what it achieves. Not the condition change, the emotion change. Not the condition change, the vibration change. The vibration change, the bag of marble change, the point of attraction change. Again, we're going to offer you that frivolous statement that's going to rub some of you the wrong way because it feels too light with what's going on here. We're going to remind you that the way you feel is about what you've got going on vibrationally in relationship with what your inner being's got going on vibrationally. Your inner being who knows your well-being, you got to match that vibration, which means you've got to do what is not easy to do. You got to look in the direction of wanted, not in the direction of what is. And you live in a world where so many around you just demand that you face reality. They say to you, you're either with us or you're against us. And everybody's against somebody. And most everybody is pushing so hard against the somebodies that they are pushing against that they are not in alignment with the allowing of the desires that they want for themselves. And so the whole thing just gets all jacked up because people aren't focused upon the laws of the universe in the way they work. They're not focused upon their own inner being and their relationship with their own inner being. This is the frivolous feeling right now, it will feel to you statement that we've been offering for years. Everything that everyone wants, no matter what it is. Safety from bombs, or from people who seem to have lost their minds, and indeed they have lost their connections, who are willing to terrorize, brutalize, whether up close and personal or with bombs that they lob across the airways. And we're talking about either side of every conflict. everything that everyone wants is because they believe they will feel better in the having of it. And we want you to remember, and if you've been listening to us for a little while, you will remember it right now. You do it, you do the process, you choose the thought, not to change the circumstance, not to change the conditional. That's conditional love. Unconditionally. You're not out to change the condition. You're out to change your point of attraction. That's what unconditional alignment is. Unconditional. Not trying to change the what is in terms of manifestation. Wanting to change the what is in terms of point of attraction. And it's going to require you to not give so much attention. Esther's been fighting not turning on the television because she wants to be aware and she wants to be there and she wants to help. She wants to help vibrationally, financially, in every way she can. But she cannot maintain her connection to her own power. She can't put something on the universe's side of the placemat while she's traumatized. It doesn't work just writing it there. You got to feel the relief of it when you put it over there. So we know it must feel idiotic for someone to say to you, you got to sit in the middle of that traumatized place and not feel trauma. But it's what we're saying to those of you who wrote in about your cancer diagnosis and about the death of your husband, about the schizophrenia of your children, about the trauma you're experiencing because you just found out that your relationship isn't what you thought it was, and that person wasn't feeling about you like you thought they were. That's trauma. That's a what-isness that's big. And you gotta give yourself a break when you feel that trauma, because feeling it is the most normal thing in the world. But you can't keep feeling it or nothing can change for you. You got to find a way to feel better in the best of times before you're ever going to be able to find a way to feel better in the worst of times. That's what we mean when we talk to you about getting out ahead of it. Practice finding emotions that feel better when there are not big things threatening them. However, the advantage that you have when there are big things threatening you, like terminal diagnosis, like being terrorized in physical ways. The advantage of that off-the-charts trauma is that it spikes your desire into a whole new level of vibrating. When you have a powerful trauma, you launch a powerful rocket of desire. And your inner being, who remember is resistance-free, meets that powerful vibrating rocket in a place that you've never asked for before. You've got a desire that is attracting like never before, and an inner being who is minding that vibration. And that matters. That's different for you. That means your diagnosis isn't as threatening to you as you think it is, because your inner being is on the desire in a way like never before. The diagnosis of your nation, or the diagnosis of your physical condition, or the diagnosis of your relationship, or the diagnosis of your financial condition, all changed when trauma is big and asking is big and inner being is focused and strong and law of attraction is responding to your inner being's asking on your behalf. That, in fact, is why the trauma feels so big, because the difference between your frequency and your inner beings is so vast, but it doesn't have to be. Not when you understand what we just said. As Esther was meditating, sitting over in a comfortable chair in the theater where sometimes they have held and plan to hold some small seminars on special subjects. Esther was sitting to meditate, and she felt the room fill with non-physical energy. It felt like there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people all piled in this relatively small space. And we said to Esther, the inner being of everyone on this broadcast today, everyone who wrote in who isn't watching, everyone who wrote in who is, everyone who videoed in and is watching, everyone who videoed in and will watch it later, all of your inner beings are participating in this broadcast and wanting you to know we've got your desire in full view. And we, non-physical we, are giving your desire our undivided attention, which cannot be said the same of you. And dear hearts, of course your attention is divided. You got hard things that you're faced with, but you got to try to look where the hard things aren't. As best you can, as much as you can, as often as you can. And you got to take every little piece of relief and you got to count it as you doing the work. Let's see another video.
Hi, Abraham. I have a question about the process you talked about on your last broadcast about the placing mat.